Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD Starcraft and I am back for another Heart of the Swarm broadcast. I have returned from Las Vegas, Nevada, out in the desert, and I'm here to cast you guys some games from DreamHack Summer. The replays were just released yesterday and I am so excited to be able to bring you guys this set of games here. This is going to be a best of 3. I will not be casting in any particular order in this tournament. I'll simply be picking whatever games I think are the best and are the highlights, and I'll be bringing it to you guys out on YouTube. How are you guys all doing today? Because we are going to be looking at a game with E.G. Jaedong RC. He's going to be the red Zerg player at the bottom right hand corner of Akalon Waste, and his opponent is going to be Mouse Sports Lucifron, who is the blue Terran in the top left. We once again have the awesome DreamHack overlays going on here, so I'm definitely down with that. I missed it for a while when I was casting some more exhibition matches, but yes, I'll be casting sets from DreamHack Summer, whichever ones I think represent some of the best and top players. I'll be casting a set every day unless some kind of emergency comes up. Very excited to be able to do this for you guys. And to today's first set, today's very first opening to DreamHack Summer, I'll be casting from the the quarterfinals, excuse me, and this is Lucifron versus Jaedong. So yes, this is very exciting. These games were just played a few weeks ago, actually last week, so very cool as the replays are now out. And I do want to say a little bit more about the tournament, but I don't want to spoil it for you guys, for those of you guys who haven't seen it yet. So anyways, if you guys have seen these games already, great, you guys don't have to watch it, but if you guys want to rewatch them with my commentary, then feel free, let your friends know. I am casting DreamHack Summer, and I'll be casting the best of the best. So there it is. Jaedong is going to be the Zerg player, bringing his drone over to the top left hand corner. There is a barracks on the way right now from Lucifron. Remember, Lucifron is the older brother of Vortex, so you would imagine Lucifron's got a lot of practice against Zerg here. And Vortex is no slouch. He is one of the top Zerg players in Europe right now. So both of these guys have a lot of practice. They are actually on the same team. Lucifron and Vortex are on the same team. Mouse Sports moving over from Karante 3, or Karante, I guess is how you pronounce it. Anyways, yeah, Jaedong has all the practice in the world he needs against Terran. Remember, his ascension to the top was along the likes of Flash, so he's got a lot of practice there. And looks like he was able to get the drone inside the main base. There is a Reaper on the way right now. One of the great things that I love watching when I see Jaedong play is he's so aggressive when he needs to be. He doesn't play that macro style that most players play, and that's how Korean players do it, man. When they smell blood, they go for it. Speaking about blood, we do smell a little bit going on here as that Reaper came back and punched that drone in the face with his dual pistols, and this SCV actually ends up surviving. Now the Reaper can go ahead and come out to the bottom right hand corner of the map and find out what's going on with Jaedong, as it looks like Jaedong right now is mining gas out of the main base. He doesn't have a third hatchery coming up yet. That's one other thing that I've been noticing a lot about Zerg players, is they don't necessarily go for that third hatch right away either. Sometimes they will stay on 2 bases for a more prolonged amount of time, and they feel comfortable doing that because they I don't know, they just do. And that can make for very interesting matchups. So we'll see here, as Jaedong actually doesn't have any drones mining at the natural expansion. That is a little curious. Usually Zerg players will have drones going over there by now, but it looks like, let's see how many drones he's got. He's only got 20, or 18, excuse me. So he's, rather than sending drones down to the natural, he's just keeping them mostly at the main. And now he's starting to produce more drones. So nothing too crazy. He just simply didn't have enough workers to saturate both of his bases. And these 2 Reapers are continuing to hop up and down the cliffs, trying to find an opening to where they can do some damage, but the Queen is on the high ground, making it very hard for Reapers to really get any damage done, but they will stay out of combat and regenerate whatever HP that they've lost. Meanwhile, Lucifron has thrown up another expansion, and he has a barracks and another expansion coming up, so he's got dual command centers on the way here. Really wants to take it into high gear. Remember guys, this is a best of 3, so if you mess up here in the first game, you're not necessarily out of it yet, but you do have a long ways to go. And I would have to say, you know, judging from last DreamHack Open, I think that was in Valencia, if I'm not mistaken, you know, Jaedong went very far in that tournament. I think he went all the way to the not the semifinals, the finals, where he lost to Naniwa. So it was an amazing showing for Jaedong, and he's had another few months here to practice his game. So Lucifron here really, I think, has his work cut out for him. If he wants to go all the way here, he has to be able to take out Jaedong. And don't forget, this is the quarterfinals, so it is the round of 8. And yeah, man, it's getting pretty close down there to getting to the end. Anyways, Jaedong here coming in with some more Zerglings, going to try to find an opening. He is going to be able to leak by the Reapers and the Hellions, and by this, he's going to be able to get into the main. No, he won't, as the supply depots do get raised up, but he does get a scout, just a slight scout on the factory. And oh, look at that, if you hold V, you actually go back to the standard mode, so that's kind of neat. I'll be able to do that if I need to. But yeah, it looks like Lucifron is going to be going for a mixture here. A little bit of biomech. He's going to have Widow Mines. He's going to have some Marines and Marauders coming out with Stimpak. We've seen countless players use this strategy nowadays in Terran versus Zerg. It seems like siege tanks have fallen out of favor a little bit. Now it's more about Widow Mines, because Widow Mines are that much more effective against Zerglings, against Banelings, perhaps not so much against Roaches, and that's what kind of has stepped up the evolution for Zerg. Now you see Zerg players going more Roaches in this matchup, and to follow up Roaches, typically Hydras is a pretty good building to get, a pretty good unit to get. So we'll see if Jaedong decides to go Roach Hydra here. He does have dual evolution chamber coming down, so all signs are pointing down to a Hydralist den momentarily. Whoa, what is going on here? We had a little bit of a bug out. I was like, wait, what happened to his main hatchery? Just disappeared for a second. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but on my screen at least, the hatchery just vanished. But it is back now. Jaedong here pushing out into the middle of the map, has more Roaches coming. +1/+1 is on the way. He is not getting missile though. He's getting ground weapons for melee, so we might be seeing some Zerglings, maybe a quick tech into Ultra pretty soon here. Lair now just getting started, and that's the reason why I glanced back at the main, because I was wondering, is his Lair on the way yet? And it hasn't come quite yet. It is just now coming, so it is a pretty delayed Lair, but you can see that Jaedong is saturating the third base, so he's going for a lot of bases here. Meanwhile, these Roaches trying to find a way to go through the front door, but there are Widow Mines and Marauders hiding inside the bunkers, so it is pretty much nigh impossible for those Roaches to be able to break through that type of wall. Even if they get the bunker down, they've got to deal with Widow Mines. Even if they get the Widow Mines down, they've got to deal with then Hellions and Marauders and more bunkers in the back as well. You can see Lucifron here really playing it safe. He has got so much defense online. It's just pretty much impossible for a Zerg to be able to puncture through. And I think Jaedong realizing that just says, okay, you want to play that type of game? All right, that's fine. I'll pull back and I'll get another hatchery, and that's a-okay. That's what you want to do as Zerg. It looks like Jaedong about to finish up Lair here. He just finished up Lair. He can poop creep down to block this expansion, and I don't know. No, he does not push the button in time. You can see there that it was available for pooping right there in the middle of those two scoreboards, the timer and the friends list. But unfortunately, he did not. And so now it looks like a couple of Hellions and Roaches engaging in the middle of the map. +1/+1 coming for the Terran, as well as +1/+1 nearly finishing up for the Zerg here. And what we have essentially, guys, is a late game, as both players really haven't lost too many forces. The Terran is on 3 bases, the Zerg is on 4 bases, and you know the battlefield has been laid out for a perfect macro game here between Jaedong and Lucifron. And I'm very excited to see what is going to happen here. We can see the Overseer coming in, trying to dart in and get a little bit more vision. We do see a lot of barracks, so heavy emphasis on the bio here. And in fact, Lucifron not making too many more Widow Mines. He's only made a few for the early game defense. One Changeling was dropped off, but it was immediately killed by a Marine inside the bunker. And in the meantime, it looks like this rock fortification is getting taken out by a few Roaches, but Marines are coming out in order to back that up, and Lucifron has +1/+1 done, so does the Zerg army, but at the same time, it looks like Jaedong here going to switch up. He's going for Mutalisk, he's got a Spire down, and this is Jaedong's claim to fame. If you guys have never seen him play in Brood War, he is the god of Muta Micro, and we are about to be blessed by some Mutalisk action. We do have a lot of Mutas on the way, about 9, along with some Zerglings as well. Lucifron pushing out at the same time. time trying to pick off some creep tumors and delay the Zerg army, but what he doesn't realize is Mutalists are on the way. Baneling's coming out as well. Baneling's speed not quite done yet, but the medevacs say, okay, no problem, we can just use Ignite Afterburners and get the hell out of here. But the Ignite Afterburners does not last forever, and immediately Lucifron decides to drop on this high ground. Very smart play here, and it looks like he stems up his Marines just enough to keep those Mutalists away. In the meantime, the Zerg ground army pushing over to the Terran front door. Widow mines exploding all over the Zerglings, and now the Mutalists coming up as well. Baneling's detonating on Marauders, and more reinforcements coming out for Lucifron. I think Lucifron has enough to hold off, and he brings his reinforcements down from the high ground plateau, and he's going to be able to push Jaedong back. Lucifron with a beautiful hold there. And I've got to say, very quick thinking to evacuate his Marines right there on the high ground where they were not vulnerable to Zerg ground units. And then Lucifron with just a beautiful hold at the front door now is beginning to push out a little bit. Jaedong feeling the pressure, doesn't have Banelings. Does he have enough Zerg forces here to stop this army? I don't think so, and Widow Mines are continuing to plant down. Drilling Claws looks like has been researched, and that's going to help the mobility of this Terran army oh so much. Will Jaedong be able to hold on here? He's actually in a lot of trouble. The Marines are a little bit overstimmed though, so I think Lucifron has to be careful. He doesn't have that much energy on his medevacs, and more Mutalists have come out. He may have overextended his stay, and these medevacs, I don't know how they're going to be able to survive. He has to start unloading his troops now, and you can see he's starting to bring his Marines down. Going to be forced to stim him up once again, but they just don't have that much HP, and I think Lucifron with a little bit of an overextension getting over to the Zerg side of things. And excuse me, Drilling Claws was not actually researched. It is now beginning to go down, but yeah, I think Lucifron might have overextended his stay, and as a result Jaedong able to get a quick victory there, exactly what he needs, but he's still not out of the thick of the woods yet as Lucifron brings out more reinforcements going into heavy Widowmine production. Current supplies at 172 to 165 in favor of Jaedong, which really isn't that big at all for a Zerg army. And Jaedong not in the best of worlds right now. He is bringing in his army. It looks like those Widow Mines get underground, and the Sentinel missiles exploding their payload, evaporating the remaining Zerglings on the ground, taking out a few Marines as well, but that's okay for Lucifron. He has the bigger army now, and he is threatening to push onto the Zerg creep and taking out creep tumors and whatnot, but Jaedong does have a pretty substantial Mutalist army here, and I'm looking at the unit stab. He's actually got 20 Mutalists and 19 Banelings. That may be enough forces to take out this Terran army if a surround is done, the perfect surround in fact, but it looks like Jaedong is just going to say, screw it, I'm going to go for a backstab, taking out a couple of SCVs. Is so good with this Mutalist micro going around the backside. Meanwhile, a ton of Zerglings and Banelings going in, but they all get killed off by the Marines and the Widow Mines on the low ground. There are two different battles going on here. Ladies and gentlemen, the command center did not disappear off screen. It is destroyed as Jaedong was able to actually kill it off, it looks like. I'm not sure how, but those Mutalists doing quite a bit of damage. And in the meantime, now Lucifron pushing through the rocks here, looking to try to punch through and take out a Zerg expansion. Eye for an eye here. Meanwhile, a new expansion is on the way, and now Jaedong coming in with his Banelings and his Mutalists. Will he have enough forces to detonate all across the Marine army? There are Widow Mines on the low ground as well, but it looks like most of the Widow Mines have detonated. 3 more Widow Mines coming in, but the mines are not detonating on the core of the Zerg army. They're actually going after the Zerglings and not the Mutalists, and that's unfortunate because as Terran, you actually cannot tell those Widow Mines where to go. They just go with whatever they want to do. They're kind of disobedient like that, and unfortunately for the Terrans, I'm sure that he wanted them to detonate on the Mutalists, not on those Zerglings. And so Jaedong with another slight victory here. He's got 169 supply to 146, and this is where when you go into the late game, a player can really exercise and exploit the skill gap, and I really do feel like Jaedong has a skill gap advantage here over Lucifron, and you know, as the game goes later and later and there are more things to manage, more macro, more micro, more important decision making, you know, that's when you can really take it to the next level, whereas your opponent cannot. And I think Jaedong here is starting to slowly you know, etch his way back into this game, if not ahead of this game. But Lucifron isn't out of it yet. I'm looking at the upgrades here, 2-2 across the board for both players. In fact, 3-3 now, just finishing for Lucifron. That is absolutely huge. He's going to outclass the Zerg army for a few minutes here, as Jaedong did not bother to get 3-3. He's actually now just finishing up Hive. He is going to bring in his Mutalist here, and he's going to take out a bunch of SCVs. Oh my god, so many SCVs going to go down here, and the SCV count plummeting down to 44 SCVs, about half the drones that Jaedong has, and this command center, the planetary fortress, is gonna go down as well. and Lucifron not quick enough to come back and save that expansion. Now might be, you know, his hand might be forced. He has to go and try to go eye for an eye and take out another expansion of Jaedong's. But will he be able to do it? He's got to be wary about the meterless threat back behind him. And in fact, the meterless now are just going to stand here and pick off the reinforcing Terran army. Very nice play by Jaedong. Lucifron now caught between a rock and a hard place. How is he going to get out of this situation? He plants down the Widow Mines. Great detonations right there. Meterless flying back as well, but they got to be careful. There are Widow Mines just planted all around the place. And in fact, these Metas have taken quite a bit of damage, so now Jaedong might be best served just getting the hell out of there and allowing that quick tissue regeneration to take hold and get those Metas back up to full HP. In the meantime, Lucifron continuing to set up his container outside the Zerg base, but Jaedong just says, hey, I've got flyers, I've got mobility, I'm going to take out more SCVs, but back at home, Lucifron has a huge squad of Marines, Alpha Task Force has come in, and these Mutalisks have they've got to get out of there, they cannot stay around, but meantime, Baneling's coming, and there are so many Banelings here, but the micro from Lucifron actually pretty damn good. As I glanced over in the first shot, it looks like he lost a lot of Marines, but then he was able to keep them alive. And now just down to a handful. It looks like now those Mutalisks are going to come back, and these Marines are done for. Jaedong really getting momentum under his wings, quite literally. 169 supply to 132. Even though he's lost more than the Terran army has, he's just done an incredible job of harassing the SCV lines. I mean, if you look at the SCV count right now, it is almost literally half the drones that Jaedong has. And when you're down in SCVs like that, I don't know how on earth Lucifron will be able to maintain this type of game. He is going to bring yet another attack here with his Marines and Widow Mines. He certainly has a lot of Widow Mines, and he's still got that upgrade advantage on his side at least for another minute or so. And these Marines coming in, trying to apply a little pressure here, but there are Banelings. He's got to be careful, going to try to pull those Marines back, and the Widow Mines actually detonating very nicely there for Lucifron. Bringing in his Marine Corps once again, but you've got to be careful. There's a lot of Mutalisks back here, and in fact, they're playing Minesweeper right now, picking off Widow Mines wherever possible, and it looks like almost all the mines have gone down so far in this game. At least the ones that were containing the Zerg player at the front door, and Jaedong now is starting to wildly sway this game in his favor. And if you look at that production tab, guys, Jaedong is not messing around. He's going for an Ultralisk Cavern, and you know, we all know that Ultras, Widow Mines tickle Ultralisks. They don't really do damage to them at all. And when the Ultras come out, Lucifron is going to be forced. He's going to be forced to go heavy Marauders. That's really his only option. He won't be able to produce Marines and Widow Mines anymore. And then if he goes heavy Marauders, then the Mutalisks are just going to eat him up. So, yeah, Lucifron in a lot of trouble here. Jaedong once again going to the top right expansion. Gonna pick that off with his Mutalisks. It looks like no! Lucifron is gonna save it with his SCVs just barely. In the meantime, Baneling's coming on. Lucifron not paying attention. And you can't really fault him. He was very much occupied with what is going on at his front door, and right now the front doors are going down. And so Jaedong, I think, is going to take the first game of this set, barring a miracle here from Lucifron, trying to stay in it, going down to the bottom right. Will he finally be able to kill off this hatchery? It's like it's been his life's goal for the last 5 minutes. And it looks like he's just going to say, screw it, I'm going to bypass and go into the main base. I'm not too sure how that's going to accomplish anything here. But yeah, you can see Jaedong is just well prepared. He's got forces. And yeah, he's not even really losing drones. That's the beauty of it. He's just been able to keep his drones alive this game as well. And Jaedong just preparing for the perfect surround. And this is pretty much the last stand here, I feel, for Lucifron. If you look back on the top left-hand corner of the minimap, he's not mining out of any bases, and actually he is mining out of one, but he does call GG, and there it is, first game going to EG, JDRC, which is of course Jaedong. Beautiful game by him, and we are going to go on to the second game of this set. I hope you guys enjoyed. So without further ado, let's go right into it. This is HD, signing out.